Gonna give us 1 minute to get our Google Classroom and a piece of scratch paper ready. Looks like Ethan's ready. Looks like Kyrie's ready. Looks like Eva's ready. All right, we are going to start with our do now. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see where I'm going to find it. I'm going to go to our Google Classroom in our classwork. Today's Friday, 4/24. Math do now. You're going to click on the document in do now. And it says to write the mixed numbers as improper fractions. So you're going to, it equals, you're going to write it as so this is a mixed number. So we're going to write it as an improper fraction. So I want to think, how many holes do I have? I have 5 holes, so that's 10 tenths 5 times. And then I have 7 more tenths. So if I have 10 tenths, you don't have to write the full addition sentence. You can just write your answer. 10 tenths, 10 tenths, 10 tenths, and 10 tenths. I know that I have that 5 times. And then I have 7 tenths. I know that's going to give me 57 tenths. So you can just write this as 57 tenths. So this one you need to write as 3 ones and 8 tenths. So you're going to write it as a mixed number and then also as a improper fraction. So I should see a mixed number and an improper fraction for both or for all of these. Yeah, both of them for any of the following fractions. Some of us give them as mixed numbers, so you only have to write them as an improper fraction. Improper fractions and mixed numbers, I'm going to give us 3 minutes to do these. You may begin. Yes, Eva?
It won't let me go to Google Classroom because you're sharing the screen, I think.
I can stop sharing. See if it works now.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Nagasi? No, you weren't raising it. Okay.
I was raising my hand.
Oh, you were raising your hand. Okay.
I was doing this.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, Leonard?
So on 3 ones and 8 tenths, right? On the uniform fractions, aren't we supposed to whatchamacallit, right? What's it called? Are we supposed to write the mixed number and the improper? But what if it's not an improper?
It will be if it's a mixed number, it'll be an improper.
Right, but like but what if there's no holes in that fraction? Do we just put the regular fraction?
Okay. Take 2 more minutes. Or if you're just joining us, we're doing our do now. Our math do now. In 2 minutes, I'm going to go over our answers. that a hand harmony?
No.
You're just thinking, okay. Yes, Leonard?
So I'm on the 2 10s, 3 1s, and 3 10s. I'm starting to get confused because because the mixed number I put for 3 1s and 8 tenths was 3 and 8 tenths. So do I put? So I don't know what to put on this one if I've already put something similar to what I was going to put on here like that. So is it like 2 and 33 tenths or 2 and 33 hundredths?
If it's if it says hundredths, you're gonna put it over 100.
Oh, so if it's so you're saying that is it 2 and 3300? 33 tenths. It says 2 10s.
So 2 10s. So that would be in like our tens column.
Mhm.
3 1s and then 3 tenths. So that tens and tenths are different.
I realized that, but it's kind of hard to tell them apart.
Yeah, you have to look for that THS on the end of it. That's what's going to tell you it's in the decimal or the fraction.
So how do I recognize? Well, I know. Well, I already know this stuff, but I don't know what to put on there because if I put a mixed number on the one where it's no tens, then what I'm supposed to put on the 2 10s one, where it's actually tens on it.
We're gonna go over it right now, and I think that'll answer your question. If it doesn't, let me know. All right, friends, we're gonna go over our answers. So I'm gonna share my screen so you can see it. So we did the first one, and we said 5 7 tenths is our mixed number. 57 tenths would be our improper fraction. So when I look at 3 1s and 8 tenths, the 3 1s tells me that that's my whole number, 3 1s. And then 8 tenths, that's my fraction, 8 over 10. And I know it's over 10 because it says the word tenths. So if that is my mixed number, I need to write a improper fraction. So I think, okay, there's 3 wholes. I know that's 10 tenths, 10 tenths, and 10 tenths. That's 10 tenths 3 times. So 10, 20, 30 tenths would be my whole. So I would have 30 tenths plus 8 tenths, which would give me 38 tenths. So my mixed number is 3 as my whole number and then 8 tenths. And then I have 38 tenths as my improper fraction. So the next one is 10 and 9 tenths. They already gave you the mixed number. So I think, okay, if there's 10 tenths, there's 10 sets of 10 tenths. That's 10 tenths, 20 tenths, 30 tenths, 40 tenths, 50 tenths, 60 tenths, 70 tenths, 80 tenths, 90 tenths, 100 tenths. That 10 is whole number is going to equal 100 tenths plus the 9 tenths that I still have, which is going to give me 109 tenths. Now, even though this top number is hundredths, the bottom number doesn't change. It stays as the tenths. So I have 10 and 9 tenths is equal to 109 tenths. The next one is tricky. So this is what Leonard was talking about, how you have to look carefully because this one says tenths with the THS, but the other one says just tens. There's no THS. So when I think of that tens, that's going to be in my tens place value chart. So I would have 2 10s and 3 1s would give me 23. That was these right here, 2 10s and 3 1s. That gives me the number 23. Then I look at my tenths because that's my fraction, 3 tenths. That tells me there's 3 over 10. tells me there's 3 over 10. When I think of my mixed number, I'm going to have 233 tenths because I had 10 tenths 23 times plus 3 more tenths is going to give me 233 tenths. So today we are going to be practicing comparing our fractions like we were doing yesterday. Our objective today is students will use area models and number lines to compare decimal numbers and record comparisons with greater than, less than, or equal to. So our criteria for success is we're going to draw the first number in an area model. We're going to draw the second number in an area model. We are going to compare. We're going to label the first number on a number line. We're going to label the second number on a number line. We're going to compare, and then we're going to compare with greater than, less than, or equal to. So I'm putting our objective and steps for success in our chat box so you can reference that. And I'm going to show you one first. I'm going to show you one first. So before we start, I want to make sure that we know that the 1.0 is the same as saying 1 whole. This 0.0 tells me that there's no fraction. That 0.0 tells me that there's no fraction. So if I have 1.00, that also tells me that's just a whole because there's no fraction at the end of that. If I wanted to do 0.7, if I added a 0 to that, that would say 7 tenths is equal to 70 hundredths. And that is correct because I know I could just do times 10 times 10. And I know 7 times 10 is 70, 10 times 10 is 100. So I know these two are equal. So adding the 0 isn't going to change anything. And that's going to be important to know when we look at our fractions today, because some of them we're going to have to add a 0 at the end of that. And we need to make sure that we understand it doesn't necessarily change the fraction because that's just creating an equivalent fraction. So the first one we're going to do today, you're just going to watch, are the numbers. We're going to compare 15 hundredths and 51 hundredths. Now, when I look at these numbers, 15 hundredths and 51 hundredths, I could write these in my place value. I could say this one is 0.15. The other one is 0.51. Now, like we did yesterday, I can look at my tens. There's nothing there. Those aren't going to tell me any information. The ones, they're both 0, so that doesn't tell me any information. Now I'm looking for tenths. That tells me I want to know which one is closest to 10 tenths. 5 tenths or 1 tenth. I know 5 tenths is going to be closer than the 1 tenth. So I know this one should be my bigger one, but I'm going to check on a number line. I'm going to say 0 to 1 whole. In the middle, I know is 1/2, which I write as 0.5, because 0.5 plus 0.5 is going to give me 1 whole. 5 tenths. 5 tenths and 5 tenths give me 10 tenths, which I know is 1 whole. If I wrote these as fractions, it would be 0, 5 tenths, and 10 tenths. Now, I'm looking for 15 hundredths. I can change all of these to hundredths by adding 2 place values. I could say 0 and 0 hundredths, 0 and 50 hundredths, 1 and 0 hundredths. And I know I can change this to hundredths because I would just multiply by 10. And that would give me 50 hundredths. Now, 51 I know it's going to come after 50. 51 is going to come after. And 15 is going to come before. So when I look at this, I think, okay, which one's bigger? Is it 51 or 15? I'm looking to see which one's closer to the 10ths or the 100 hundredths. And I know 51's going to be bigger, so I'm going to write a comparison statement. I'm going to say 0.15, which is 15 hundredths, is less than 51 hundredths. Because I know the alligator's going to eat the bigger number, and I know from my work over here, from looking at my place value chart, as well as my number line, that 51 hundredths is the bigger number. So I write my number sentence as 15 hundredths is less than 51 hundredths. So we're going to try one together. So go ahead, get out your scrap paper that you have that you are going to do our practice problem on, whether that's a whiteboard or a piece of paper or the back of a piece of paper. And I want you to start by making yourself a place value chart. I want to see hundredths, tenths, ones, and tens on your place value chart. Start by making your place value chart. I see Rhoda's making her place value chart. Jordan, is your place value chart made? Is your place value chart made? Did you make a place value chart? So your place value chart should look like this. Tens, ones, I have tenths and I added that THS. And hundredths with the THS, Miss Flynn forgot her S. We're going to put, or we're going to compare the numbers of 4.5, which is 4 and 5/10, and 4.38, which is 4 and 38 hundredths. So I'm comparing 4 and 5/10 and 4 and 38 hundredths. Now, if this is tenths, I'm looking, I can put these in my place value chart. If I'm looking at this, I see that these are a little different. This one's just in the tenths. This one goes to hundredths. How can I make this one go to hundredths? What can I do? I have a tenths, but I want it to be hundredths. What can I do, Kyrie?
Add a 0 at the end.
Yeah, I can add a 0 because 50 hundredths and 5/10 mean the same thing, because I know that 5/10, if I wanted to make it hundredths, I could just multiply by 10, and that would give me 50. So I could make this a 50 instead of a 5.
Why did you take that off? That's because it was.
I have now 4 and 50 hundredths, or 4 and 38 hundredths. Now I can compare in my place value chart. I can say 4 and 4, they're the same numbers, so that's not going to tell me anything. I'm looking now in my tenths, 5/10 and 3/10. Which one would be bigger, 5/10 or 3/10? Which one's bigger? We're thinking of getting to 10/10. So is my 5/10 bigger or my 3/10 bigger? What do you think, Nasir?
5/10.
Yeah, that 5/10 is going to be bigger. So my 51 hundredths that I just made is going to be bigger than the 38 100ths. So we're going to check this on a number line. So go ahead, draw a number line. And my whole number is 4, so I'm going to start at 4. And nothing's bigger than 4, so I can go up to 5. In my whole numbers, nothing's bigger than 4, so I can just do 4 to 5. Now, what is my exact middle between 4 and 5? 4 and 5, what is my exact middle? Ethan?
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5 or 4.5. 4 and 5 tenths. 4 and 50 hundredths. We can write that a bunch of different ways. 4 and 5 tenths. 4 and 50 hundredths. That all tells me that that is 1/2. That is 1/2 of a whole. And we know we're going from a whole to a whole. So in the middle, we're looking for that 4.5. Now I look at my place value chart. I say, okay, 4 and 5 tenths. Well, I know that's what I just labeled in my number line is the 4 and 5 tenths. Or 4 and 50 hundredths. We know Carrie told us that means the same exact thing. Now I think, okay, 4 and 38 hundredths. If I know this is 50 hundredths, 38 hundredths is going to have to come before or after. What do you think? Does 38 hundredths come before 50 hundredths or after 50 hundredths? Jordan?
Before.
Good, before. So I'm going to label 4 and 38 hundredths before 50 hundredths. Now I can compare these two. I can say, okay, going up to the number line, I see 4 and 50 hundredths is bigger because it comes after 4 and 38 hundredths. So I can take my two numbers and compare them. I can write a comparison statement. I can say 4 and 5 tenths is what to 4 and 38 hundredths. And I know my alligator is going to eat the bigger number, which is the 4 and 5 tenths. So I would read this as 4 and 5 tenths is greater than 4 and 38 hundredths. We're going to try another one. Yes, Carrie?
Why do we use the number line if like say if we know the answer?
Why do we use the number line? It's kind of like how we were doing with fractions. We got a bunch of different strategies and then we were able to choose which one we liked best. So this is just learning another strategy, the number line. Yes, Lennon?
So technically, we just compare fractions, but in decimal form, and we learn 2 different strategies how to do it.
You got it. All right, friends, our next one that we're going to compare is 10 and 1/10 and 10 and 10 hundredths. So let me turn my screen so you can see my whiteboard. I'm doing 10 and 1/10, so 10.1, and 10.10, so 10 and 10 hundredths. So I can compare like we did yesterday in our place value chart. Oops, so Miss Flynn almost just made a mistake because I have to look, it's not just a 1. I have tens, so I have to label it before the decimal place as 10.1 and 10.10. So 10 and 1/10 or 10 and 10 tenths. Now, I'm comparing hundredths to tenths. What can I do to make them the same? What can I do to make them the same? Joy?
Add another 0.
On which one?
The first one.
Yeah, that 0.1. Because I know that adding this 0 isn't going to change the fraction because 1/10 is going to be equal to 10 hundredths because I would multiply by 10 on the top and the bottom, and we're making an equivalent fraction. So I actually don't even need to compare these any further because what do I know about these two decimals? What do I know about these two decimals now that I added a 0 because I know that's an equivalent decimal? What do I know? Ethan?
That they both equal the same.
Yeah, they equal the same. So my comparison statement, I would say 10 and 10 tenths is what to 10 and 10 hundredths? And I know as Ethan just told us, that word is equal. They are the same thing. They are equal. I didn't even need to compare them because they look exactly the same. Cool, we're gonna do another. Let's do one more. We're gonna do 2.68, which I say is 2 and 68 hundredths, and 2.8, which I say is 2 and 8 tenths. So I'm gonna turn my screen around so you can see what they look like. I have 2 and 68 hundredths, 2 and 8 tenths. We are going to compare those. So I'm going to be looking for a comparison statement that says 2 and 68 hundredths is what to 2 and 8 tenths. I'm going to put us in a breakout room for 3 minutes to solve this problem. It's just 3 minutes with a partner. It's not a lifetime. 3 minutes to solve 2 and 68 hundredths is what to 2 and 8 tenths. You're going to get a notification on your screen that asks you to join a breakout room. You're going to click that. 3 minutes to solve this. So you're comparing. You may go.
I agree. So I agree. I agree with you.
And for 2.8, you're gonna have to pick the.
I'm gonna have to go back to school.
Me too. This is stupid. You gotta stay in the house. Can't come out. We can't come
All right,
out.
so, bro, we gotta start this problem cause Miss Flynn is in a breakout room.
All right.
Not just because I'm here. You're going to do it because that's what you have to do whether I'm here or not.
And plus, we're not supposed to be talking about how boring quarantine is. I want to go back to school.
Yeah, I would like to too.
Cause I'd rather do work in school than at home.
Yeah.
Like I flow better with the schedule.
All right, friends, you have 2 more minutes to finish this problem.
Okay. Miss Flynn,
Mm-hmm.
what was the question? What was the question again?
2 and 68 hundredths is what to 2 and 8.
Say that one more time. One more time.
Yeah.
Can I do write it?
2 and 68 hundredths
268
hundredths.
mm-hmm,
Oh,
is what to 2 and 8 tenths.
Okay, got you. Oh, get my
I'm not showing a video. That's all. You don't know like bro. Honey.
with your paw.
Okay. Well, since we got 1 minute left. On a little boat. On a little-
How are you doing, ladies?
We're drawing the number, but like the number
Oh.
line on the tape diagram.
Awesome.
You scared me.
Boo.
Yeah, Miss Flynn.
What's
Right,
up?
we could like so. Man, I was telling Nasir that we could probably take out the 8 and probably put a 6 because, or we could subtract the 8 with a number to get the 6, and then we could probably put a 0.
I like the thought about the 0. I don't think we need to take anything away, but I think we could put a 0 somewhere.
Wait, a 0 well, if you put the 0 behind, that would be 80.
Mm-hmm.
I think I put the 0 behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So now,
I heard a lot of great things in our breakout room. I heard not only I agree with you, so you were saying to your partner like, hey, yeah, we're on the right track. I agree with you. Yeah, those are the words I like to hear. But I also heard that you could change 8/10 to 80 hundredths. I saw that we were working on number lines. So to check our work, I saw that we had 2 and 68 hundredths. And then we had 2 and 8/10. And I saw that we added a 0 to that because we know 8/10 is equal to 80 hundredths. And then I saw that Rhoda's group was working on their number line. And they said that we're working with 2. And there's no whole number greater than 2. So we're going to go 2 to 3. What would be my middle? What would be my middle in 2 to 3? Leonard?
2.5.
Yep, 2.5, which is 2 and 5/10. 2.5 or 2 and 5/10. And what is that in hundredths? What is 2 and 5/10 in hundredths? 2 and Naziah?
Is it 2 at 50 hundredths?
You got it. 2 and 50 hundredths. 2 and 50 hundredths. Now I can label 2 and 68 hundredths on that. I know 2 and 68 hundredths is going to come after 2 and 50 hundredths. And then I can label 2 and 80 hundredths. And I know that's even closer to the whole number 3. So I can compare these numbers. In our chat box, I want you to write which number, and all you have to do is write the number, which number is the biggest. So write 2.68 or 2.8 in our chat box. Take 1 minute to do that. Write which number is bigger. Got to see Leonard put his in there. Joy put hers in there. Kyrie, thank you. Thank you. All right, it looks like we are unanimous in that 2 and 80 hundredths is our biggest number. So when you write this, can someone tell me with our math vocabulary of greater than, less than, or equal to, can someone say my math sentence for me? Can someone say my math sentence for me? Go for it, Ethan.
2.80 is greater than 2.68.
Excellent. 2 and 80 hundredths or 2 and 8. You could have wrote it 2.80 or 2.8. We know those mean the same thing. Is greater than, so the alligator's eating the bigger one, than 68, 2 and 68 hundredths. Excellent. Thank you, Ethan, for sharing. We are going to be doing the same thing in our problem set today. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see what our problem set looks like today. it is going to be in your Google Classroom. It is going to be lesson 10 problem set. Now it's talking about area models, and it's okay if you don't draw the area model. You can do your place value. We didn't do area models because I don't have, we would use like a piece of graph paper, and obviously we are not together to do that. So I want you to use your place value chart as well as your number line to work on these. So you're going to compare these numbers, 23 hundredths and 4 tenths. You're going to use the alligator symbols, which are down. If you're on a keyboard, they are down by the letter M. You have to use your shift key to use the greater than, less than, or equal to is up by the backspace bar. You're going to compare all of these. And then number 2, you're doing the same thing. Number 3, same thing. Number 4 is kind of how we started in our do now. You're going to have to think, okay, 23 tenths. How would I write that in a fraction or in a decimal? 1 and 4 tenths. How would I write that as a decimal or a fraction? 6 tenths and 66 hundredths. How would you write that as a fraction and a decimal? So you're going to be working on your problem set and then your exit ticket. And then finishing up anything that you need to do from not only today, but this week. And then enjoy your weekend, friends. Yes, Kyrie?
You said you want us to, what's it called? You want us to use our number line?
You can use the place value chart and the number line to help you, yep.
But, Miss Flynn, how are we going to, like, get it if we're on a computer?
That's what you can just use it on scrap paper, like we were doing for our practice
You
problem.
want us to send you it?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Yes, Jordan?
You know how you said when we was on Zoom for free time, you said you was gonna announce the winners. Are we gonna meet back on Zoom, or are you just gonna type it in for the class thing?
Yeah, I'll type it in.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yes, Kyrie?
So can I still send you the regular one that's on that's still on the problem on the laptop? Can I send you that?
Yep, that's all you have to send me, is just fill in the greater than, less than, or equal to and send it to me.
Okay.
Yes, Leonard?
So look, so I'm on 1C, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it says it's 9. I think that's 9 100s because it's 0.09 and 0.9. So then 0.9 is 90 100s, right?
Yep. So 9 100ths or 90 100ths.
9 100s. So the first so 0.9 is bigger, so that's smaller. Thanks, Ms. Flynn.
You're welcome. Yes, Carrie?
That's equal.
I don't see the link for the Earth Day.
The Earth Day, it's labeled in the